Good evening and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this evening. Well, Celtic don't do statements by half, do they? Celtic put out a statement this evening and it looks like there'll be no minutes of the AGM. Sorry, I'm just changing the screens here. It looks like there will be no minutes from the meeting, not the AGM. I'm thinking about something completely different there. But anyway, everyone would have read Celtic's statement tonight. I think that the only thing left to do is just jump right into the comments and see how you all feel about it. It was and remains our intention to provide a full minute of the meeting for the interest of the wider fan base. However, with content already being distributed online from the meeting, we also provided an earlier update. The club sought to comment openly on the issues raised to the extent that it's possible to do so without prejudicing the club's operations and confidentiality. I don't think there's no point, is there? It's there is a point, and I hope that the Celtic collective now are sitting planning the next point of where they go from here. I still think that the fan base as a whole should just stop buying merchandise. It is, you all know my thoughts on it on this channel. It's the one and only way that we're going to get the board to listen, and the club offered to continue to meet supporters' organisations moving forward. Now, will they meet them in mass or will they meet them individually, like what they'd always done before, and get their little favourites in? We have always engaged regular discussions with the supporters groups. We will continue to do so, ensuring that we work positively in the best interests of our team. It's a nothing statement, really, and it's not anything less than what we would expect from the club. They did go on to say, we acknowledge the club, we are not where we are at, where we want to be at the moment. That we have not achieved all our objectives in the summer transfer window, the Champions League, and that mistakes have been made from which we will learn. We recognise the concerns raised, share the frustrations of our supporters, and valued the opportunity to hear from the supporters last night. Yeah, we valued it. We sat them down, give them a cup of tea, and we said, yeah, we'll take it on board. It's like going in and asking for a pay rise for your boss, isn't it? Knowing that you're never going to get one because he's just a pure C-word. But anyway, let's jump into the comments tonight. Oh, Jesus, get rid of that. I'm all over the place tonight. Let's jump into the comments and see what people are saying. It's a power grab where the club official department see themselves above their supporters. It's a case of we know better than you. Joseph Davison, we give the team and the manager 100% backing. My glasses are did you see that? Peter, it's always good to hear from you, Peter. We all need to stand together. Yeah, we do. As Celtic supporters, and do what we can to get rid of this board. Stop them from the Celtic shops trying to convince. Exactly, mate. Exactly. That is the one thing that I think that we can do as fans. You know, it's if you want to hit this type of people, you need to hit them where it hurts hardest, and that's in the pocket. Waste of time. We all knew this, says Gary. I'm just running through. If we boycott Adidas, they will notice. I don't think it's a case of boycotting Adidas. It's on about, boycott the Celtic shops and Celtic merchandise. I mean, people will still go out and buy Adidas trainers and all the rest of it and stuff. But if you stop buying, if nobody enters that Celtic shop, the brand new one in town, if nobody goes in that for a 2-week period, someone at Adidas sits and goes, is there something going on in Glasgow? Because there's no one been in the shop for 2 weeks. Yeah, the fans are boycotting the shop. Why? Oof. Get Dermot on the phone for us. Yeah, all Celtic Adidas gear. Just boycott of all Celtic Adidas gear. It's the only way. It is the only way forward. Get the Adidas hat off, Baz. It's not a Celtic Adidas gear. The ban is on Celtic Adidas gear only. So I can keep the hat. Nice try. I've seen something from another forum which is 100% spot on. I'll need to post it in 2 parts. So I'll be waiting for that. We're just cattle. Yeah, we are. Interesting. Cool. Yeah, it does that. I put a lot of work into it to get it. It was good. I'm trying to get that hat burned, Baz. I've got about. It's only Adidas hats I've got. Don't make me turn to Nike or some gimp little hat collection. Typhoon McFlustery's in the house. Good evening, Baz. The board just can't admit their failings. Well, they kind of did, really. The where is it? I'll get it back up. Probably something that I shouldn't have said live on air. I mean, the bit here, we acknowledge that the club is not where we want it to be at the moment. That's kind of a bit of an acknowledgement from them. That's a bit as good as you're going to get from this Celtic board. The transfer window of the Champions League and the mistakes have been made from which we will learn. Well, that's not going to happen. We recognise concerns raised, share frustrations of our supporters, and valued the opportunity to hear from them. It was nice to hear from you. We'll hear from you next year when it's season ticket renewal time. You can't make it up, can you? I mean, it's absolutely... A lot of people are going to be fed up at this moment with everything that's going on with Celtic. And people will be thinking, what's the point? We're not going to get rid of them. What's this new kit bollocks that's coming out? It's coming out on the 16th. And Celtic advertised it at the match at the weekend. Yeah, they did advertise it. And this was the advertisement that went out during the game. 14 minutes 43 into the game, and this came up on the screen at Celtic Park. 16-10-25. Surprised they didn't play some heartbeat just to get you thinking. They start dropping little hints. Get closer to it. 5 days to go, 4 days to go, 3 days to go. Celtic trying to do marketing, it just doesn't work, does it? Although the sign is a Celtic special Adidas sign, or with a certain level of kit. Big Rab says, my £1,000 that I would spend on my new tops for the family is going on a holiday. Keep the ban on the club gear for 2 seasons. Big Grab, you should take them on holiday anyway. You shouldn't be buying Celtic tops. I'm just going to say this. You shouldn't be buying Celtic tops over and above taking your family on holiday. That's ridiculous. I've done it myself so many times. I told the kids, you've got a season ticket for Celtic. Shut up. What are you talking about summer holiday? You go to the football every week. Dad, it's £50 for my season tickets. How do you know? Fucking should they know these things, kids these days. Anyway, we digress. Peter, there it is. Overall, the club, is that the first comment? Let me just go back up. Right, I want to get this comment. Overall, the club believes the football strategy is working and pointed to participation in European competition. There's evidence of it. Yeah, I said that this afternoon when I was on the live. I said that would be one of the arguments that the Celtic board would use. Not winning games in Europe, not challenging for European trophies, certainly not beyond the club as big as ours, but merely participating. Yeah, I mean, they're happy. The board at Celtic, and Peter Lawwell has, over his tenure at Celtic for the last 20 years, 25 years that he's been involved, he's always been, Europe was a bonus. If you look back a lot of the press conferences and AGMs, and they always said we put by money for seasons that we don't get into the Champions League, we don't do well in Europe, so that we have the money to be able to spend on players on those seasons. So that's why we put back some money. They always see Europe as a bonus, and as a big bonus. They don't see it as the competition where Celtic should be, trying to get to quarterfinals, maybe even a semi-final. They see that as out with the grasp of the realms of reality for a club playing in Scotland. And this is where they go into the we know your situation thing. Know the league that you play in. Said no club ever that won the Champions League that wasn't a big team club. I mean, could you imagine Porto in 2004 going into the Champions League off the back of winning the Europa League, thinking we're not big enough to win the Champions League? There would have been, people within the club would have went, oh, bollocks to that. If we can win the Europa last year with this manager, we give him that little bit more money. Can we go on and win the Champions League the next year? Yes, why not? Have that belief. And there seems to be something at Celtic that doesn't have that belief. It would be nice to know the players Rodgers was offered and knocked back. Well, I was on a podcast earlier and they said that we'll find out in the summer when Rodgers is gone. Nike's not too bad, to be fair. That's not. A nice woolly hat with a big bobble would do you, Baz. It's far too hot for woolly hats. I'm sitting in shorts and t-shirt, man. Come on. I can't be sitting with a woolly hat on at night. Happy enough with to get whipped every... Yeah. Because all they wanted... Exactly. And that's where the Celtic board are at. They're in a position... Got me thinking today, after conversations that we've had this evening, the board seem happy enough to not bend over to be deemed or to be pressured by fans or dictated to by fans. They seem to be in a position where, even if it means taking a hit, now thinking back to the 10 in a row year, was there a belief inside Celtic Park, in the hierarchy at Celtic, that, you know what, we're not going to appease the fans, we're not going to get rid of Lennon, we're going to stick with it until the end of the season. If we don't win the 10, so be it. We'll start the process again. And are they that arrogant in the board? And are they that arrogant at the hierarchy level at Celtic, that they think that, do you know what, we're going to go out and get a real good manager just to get it kick-started again, and then we'll go for it again. We'll do the 9 for a third time, and then we'll do the 10 that time. I never thought about that until tonight. And as crazy as that may sound, do you know what? It might not be far from the realms of reality. That they went, fuck it, it was only the 10. We'll do the 10 the next time. We'll win the league. We'll keep on winning the league. We'll win the 10 the next time. And then as long as we just, get into Europe now and again, gives the bank balance a bit of a boost. We've got a deal coming up with Adidas that's going to be fantastic. Let's make Celtic great again with Adidas. They get a new 10-year deal. But anyway, do you think that Money in our Bank is bigger or bonuses? I have no idea. The fans are delusional. Are they delusional? Are they delusional on the realms of the reality of getting change, or are they delusional on the fact that they think that it can happen? Because I think that it can happen, but it's how you go about it. We'll have 5 home games minimum in Europe. Use that as a project for the remaining 3 home games. Yeah. Lawrence says, the board don't care how we do in any domestic or European game. Once those season tickets are sold, they're content for another year. I think they do want trebles. You've got Peter Lawwell has stood up at many an AGM and said that the objective of Celtic Football Club is to be the dominant force in Scottish football. And the dominant force, he means winning trebles and winning cups and winning the league every year. They do want Celtic to be that really dominant force. And let's not get it wrong, there's dominant clubs scattered around leagues of a similar size to Celtic. There are dominant clubs in every league around Europe that have been there for a number of years, and it tend not to change as much. Peter Lawwell is a man that has a wealth of experience in this, and he has always said that was the main and only objective of Celtic, to participate in European football, but to be dominant in Scottish football. So yeah, as this generation of Celtic fans pass that on to the next generation, what type of Celtic do we pass on? Duncan, that's a fantastic comment. If that's the case, then there's not going to be any fans singing at Celtic in 20 years' time, because once the Green Brigades all grow up and hit I'm just joking about this, by the way, but there is a sense of reality in the situation. Once the Green Brigade hit the age of the fan base that currently sit and don't sing at the park at the moment, if these people are then reluctant to give up their seats in the Green Brigade section to the younger generation of fans, it could be the case that we're all sitting. I mean, I'll be sitting with my pipe and slippers, and the next generation. No. Many years you're talking about for a generation, because in Scottish politics terms, the generation is a lifetime. But in other politicians, it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, isn't it? Anyway, we'll never progress in Europe until the board who share that ambition. Isn't that what Ange was brought in for? Isn't that what Brendan was brought in for the first time round? Was to take us to the next level in Europe. So the coherence thought, the thinking behind that then is, you can bring in these elite managers to elevate your players, but then what then goes wrong between what the board are promising the manager and what they actually deliver? And that's how we're in the position we're in now, because this thing isn't just a one-off. It's not a one-off. It's happened before. It's happened too many times before, and now finally the fans have woken up and went, wait a minute here. Do you know, we can't keep on doing the same thing continuously. I mean, it's if you do the same thing again and again and again and it doesn't succeed. Do you know, there's a saying in boxing, if you get knocked down 7 times, get up 8. But with the football club, it's a little bit, do you know, if you keep doing the same thing over and over, it's madness. It is sheer madness, especially when you get the same outcome. But then if that's an objective that's written down on a piece of paper that is within the documented business of how the business is run, and the expectations of the business is those certain small parameters of goals, you know, it's Calm down. We're Celtic. We can't get to the later stages of the Champions League. No, we're not going to spend that money. If you want to spend over $3.5 million, well, you need to write an email to Dermot. It's all a bit nuts, isn't it? It's all a bit completely bonkers. The fact that they're happy to pay nearly $12 million in HMRC and not doing the minimum to get the stadium instead shows they're only vested in their own positions. Custodians, my eye. This is true. Richard, even after last season's exploits, the club still don't believe we're good enough. They should do one if that's how they feel. Despite what's going on, I still believe in our team. I believe in our team, and I still. But it's sad. We're in this position, and it's sad to think that over the last 4 years, we've had a belief as Celtic fans that if we can keep the majority of this team together and bring in 3 or 4 quality players on big wages of a big standard to come in and complement what was already there. If we never sold Matt O'Reilly, if we never sold Kyogo, although he was his form going because he wanted away and he was told that he couldn't get away. If we never sold Jota the first time round, do you know, if we managed to keep that assembled mass of players, could we have gone further last season in the Champions League? And that's what, as Celtic fans, is the disappointing thing. And again, it's that knowledge that you have as a fan that we're so close. We just get up there, and then there's let's just calm yourself down. Calm yourself down. Lanky, is Lanky back in the house? I've never seen his name. Somebody says hi, Lanky. Baz, they simply don't enjoy about us. No ambition, so the Masonic division at Celtic. Oh, who cares about them? It just changed. Finger with a no. Maybe that's what's wrong with. Maybe that's what's wrong with Tierney, because you never noticed Tierney's got his hands strapped up every game. Maybe Callum's went, fucking, you're not doing the pointing, mate. That's my shift. My shift. Why wouldn't they want more times like 2003? Because in 2003 we amassed such a wage bill that it wasn't sustainable. Although we went through various periods, managed decline to sort that out like we always do. 2005, DD stayed, was costing too much. So the downgrading has started. The downgrading started in the summer. I still think that there's information. I've said this before. There's information that Celtic and Brendan Rodgers does not want to release to the public as a whole. They don't want to release the true facts of the conversation held between Brendan Rodgers in the summer and the board. We're all taking Brendan Rodgers on his word to what happened in the summer. Is his word worth it? I need a drink of water, and I haven't got one. Is Brendan Rodgers' word worth it? Because we know that he's withheld information about players wanting to leave the club for months and months and months. So it's all going round in circles and doing nothing. What's wrong? What's going wrong with the financial drought? Yeah, I don't think we'll lose money on Dyson, but yeah, Adam Ida was a net loss of $3 million. That was terrible, absolutely terrible decision. And was that an act of the board? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for tonight. I'm only having a quick one tonight. I will be back on tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Celtic Park time, where we can talk about things. I've got a bit of sore throat tonight, so I'm going to call it quits tonight. Thank you to everyone who has joined on the live this evening. Around about 850 people, which is fantastic. And I shall see you all in the morning. Have a fantastic evening. Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.